So you're standing in the supermarket aisle and it used to be really simple. You'd either pick the original or the extra minty fresh. But nowadays these aisles look like a chemistry experiment with teeth whitening toothpaste, gum health, enamel repair, sensitivity, everything. For over 80 years, fluoride has been the undisputed heavyweight champion of dental care. It's been everywhere. It's been in the dental office, it's been in our water, and nearly every tube of toothpaste on the planet. But lately, a new contender with a long name and an even bigger price tag has entered the arena. Is this biomimetic newcomer the future of tooth repair, or is it just really, really good marketing? So today I'm going to jump into the hard science and find out what's what and what's the difference between fluoride and nano-hydroxyapatite, and which one you should put on your toothbrush. So let's start with fluoride. Why has it been the king since the 1940s? And to fully understand that, you have to look at what your teeth are actually made of. They're made of enamel, or more specifically, hydroxyapatite. And when you brush with a fluoride toothpaste, there's a chemical reaction that happens where the hydroxide ions that have been pulled out of your tooth are replaced with fluoride. So it's not just repairing the tooth, it's actually making it stronger. It's making it more acid resistant and turning it into something called fluorapatite. Think of it as like an armor for your tooth. The fluorapatite is way less soluble in acid than what regular enamel is. Regular enamel will start to dissolve in acid at about a pH of 5.5, where fluorapatite will be 4.5. So what are the big benefits of fluoride? Well, it's that acid resistance, and it's going to make your tooth harder for bacteria to break down. It's also antibacterial, so there will be fewer bacteria trying to break down the tooth. And also, it's cheap, it's affordable, it's been everywhere for a long time. Now, let's think about this new challenger, the nano-hydroxyapatite. And if we are thinking of fluoride as like a protective shell or a raincoat around your tooth, we can think of hydroxyapatite like putting the bricks back into the tooth. Enamel is made of about 97% hydroxyapatite. So this toothpaste is made of a very, very similar material to try and mimic those. It's a biomimetic material. It tries to mimic what happens in natural biology and replace those pieces that have gone missing. So we're not changing the tooth into something different. Like with fluorapatite, we're literally just putting the bricks back in place. And so according to a study that was done in 2019 on kids' teeth, and kids' teeth are naturally more soluble, they're weaker than what adult teeth would be, and that found that there's a statistical tie. There was no difference between the ability of a tooth to be remineralized by hydroxyapatite or by fluoride. They were equal. But where nano-hydroxyapatite really shines is when it comes to sensitivity. If you've ever gotten that zing or sharp pain from drinking a cold drink or cold water, iced tea, whatever, it's because there are little tiny tunnels in your teeth. They're called tubules that connect the outside of your tooth to the nerve of your tooth. And whenever these tubules are exposed, they cause the tooth to be sensitive. So fluoride tries to fix that by chemically changing the tooth, where nano-hydroxyapatite will physically plug the holes, and that is far more effective than what fluoride can do. And in a 2019 study as well, nano-hydroxyapatite was statistically way better at reducing sensitivity than what a fluoride toothpaste was. So it repairs teeth, it reduces sensitivity. What's the catch? Well, the big problem with nano-hydroxyapatite is to do with that nano part. Whenever the scientists make this nano-hydroxyapatite in the lab, they literally have to grind this stuff up into very, very small sizes. And each of those little bits of hydroxyapatite can have a different shape. And it's those little shapes where the difference can lie. So not all nano-hydroxyapatite is created equal. A report from the European Commission's Scientific Committee on Consumer Safety, that's hard to say, or the SCCS, issued a fascinating and also slightly scary warning about nano-hydroxyapatite. So not all nano-hydroxyapatite is created the same way or created equal. Whenever it's made and it's ground down, there can be these rod shapes or they're more spherical shapes, and then there can also be needle shapes. And we don't really want things that are needle shaped going into our mouth and into our body. And it's these needle shapes that can be particularly harmful. because the needle shape can actually penetrate a cell membrane and cause cytotoxicity, whereas the rods and spheres are generally much more safer. Those needle shapes can lead to a lot of inflammation in the rest of your body, particularly in your liver, your kidneys, or your lungs. And this has caused the EU to actually move to ban these specific shapes, particularly in cosmetics. Any of the reputable brands that are making a hydroxyapatite toothpaste will be using those rods and sphere shaped particles. But if you're buying from a cheaper or a lesser well-known brand, you may not necessarily know what type of particle you're going to get. So this brings us to quite a big question in this topic, as which is safer. And it's particularly for this reason that a lot of parents are actually moving their kids from using a fluoride toothpaste to a nano hydroxyapatite toothpaste. Because nano hydroxyapatite toothpastes are generally made with calcium and phosphate, they are very safe. And one of the big concerns with a fluoride toothpaste is that if children swallow the toothpaste, then that can cause other issues with the development of their teeth, the development with their bones, and reported issues with neurotoxicity as well. So the fluoride is great as long as you spit it out, but if you swallow it, or if kids swallow it, it can start to affect the development of their adult teeth or their bones, or can have impacts on neurotoxicity, particularly on their teeth. You could be looking at things for dental fluorosis, which can give stained, mottled enamel, and those spots are permanently baked into the enamel. So after all that, which one actually wins? Well, I would be thinking, and a lot of other dentists have been thinking recently, why do we have to choose between them? The best option here might actually be a synergy and of getting them to work together. So this could be like a cocktail approach where you could use a fluoride toothpaste in the morning and a nano hydroxy toothpaste at night. And it's important to do it in that order because you want to get that protective armor effect that the fluoride is going to give you for the rest of the day. So that's going to protect you from, drinking your morning coffee and eating your breakfast and lunch and dinner and whatever else. And then you can use the nano hydroxyapatite at night to help rebuild the enamel.